Hello and welcome to Inspired Earth. We've definitely got an interesting one this week. We got a special episode here. This is going to be about Tesla and specifically about the circumstances of his death and what happened to his work afterwards and a little bit before too. And it might be kind of a long one, with a lot of different types of information, but it's kind of, this is a base laying episode. We're just going to use this as a springboard to jump off on a bunch of different topics here, and we will end up circling back to a lot of this stuff later on. And this is an actual document from the FBI itself. It's like a public document. Anybody can go and download it from the FBI reading room. And it is about Tesla, and Yeah, it's just really strange. It has a lot of different information in it, and it goes a lot of different angles. And I'll try to uh, give some background information on some of the things that the people involved are saying and talking about. So, what probably immediately catches a lot of people's eyes are this heading of the top of the back of the top of the folder here that looks like it's been photocopied, and it says 2-page newsletters, RE interplanetary session newsletter. So I guess this is a newsletter that they've photocopied in here, and this is June 14th, 1957, and I'm just going to read this little bit of the newsletter here. And by the way, there's a video if you guys want to follow along with the document. If not, it's just a bunch of text, like I'm reading off of the actual document here. So if anybody wants to follow along with the video, you can. Otherwise, audio will be fine because there's no pictures or anything with this. But dear friends, interplanetary session newsletter. We have not issued a newsletter since May 1st, 1956, because we had no space news which we could consider authentic. However, now we have some good news to pass along to you. George Van Tassel operates the Giant Rock, California spaceport and airport and has been host at 4 annual spacecraft conventions. He is the author of 2 books, I Rode a Flying Saucer and Into This World and Out Again. He is also the publisher of Proceedings magazine, usually issued monthly. Dan Fry is the author of White Sands Incident. In this book, he tells the story of a trip which he had made in a flying saucer from a desert spot on the White Sands Proving Ground in New Mexico to New York City and returned in 32 minutes. So all of those books are available. You can buy them today. And it's kind of interesting the FBI is talking about all of these books about UFOs flying around in the 50s. But there's some more later on that we'll talk about. And I'm kind of just like skipping through specific parts because these are just like random compilations of documents that the FBI all put together in one folder that has been digitized. So this is kind of like a folder of stuff, and it's not even probably the full folder. This is just what happened to be released to the public. So if it seems like we're like jumping around, it's because we are, and that's because the documents jump around. So I'm going to try to make sense of it a little bit the best I can. So this is where it goes on. This letter will not reach you in time to sight flying saucers over New York on the night of June 13th from 10 p.m. to 1 a.m., but there will be a full-scale operations of flying saucers over all American areas on July 1st. This will be in 3 phases as follows. New York areas, July 1st, 9 a.m. Washington, D.C. areas at 9:25 a.m. General North American areas after 9:25 a.m., Central American areas 9:30 a.m., South American areas 9:35 a.m. The second phase, some areas as above beginning at 12 o'clock midday, July 1st. Third phase, full-scale operations over all American areas beginning at 7 o'clock on the evening of July 1st. This information has been supplied by George King, editor of Cosmic Voice, 88 The Drive Mansions, Fulham Road, London, Southwest 6. I guess that's his actual address. I didn't mean to read the address, but I guess that's an address. I didn't even realize that's what it was. Also, please note that George King has also published back issues of Cosmic Voice in 1 volume, price $1. And it says that this is without the finest buy of saucer messages that we know. George King is considered the best telepathic contact which the space people have, although George Van Tassel is the finest we have in America. Margaret Storm has been assigned to certain work with the space people as follows. She is writing a book Return of the Dove, a story of the life of Nikola Tesla, scientist, and the part of his inventions will play in the new age. Much of the data from this book has been supplied to Miss Storm through transcripts received on the Tesla set, a radio-type machine invented by Tesla in 1938 for interplanetary communication. I wish that we could know the designs of that, and it's crazy that she's using this Tesla-invented machine to talk to Tesla. It's very fascinating. And going back to like EVP and stuff that we do today, I wonder if it would be possible to contact Tesla himself or any other people like Edison. Edison was also talking about a phone to the dead in the past. It says Tesla died in 1943 and his engineers did not build the Tesla set until after his death. It was placed in operation in 1950, and since that time, the Tesla engineers have been in close touch with spaceships. The space people have visited the Tesla engineers many times, and have told us that Tesla was a Venusian brought to this planet as a baby in 1856, and left with Mr. and Miss Tesla in a remote mountain province is what is now known as Yugoslavia. So, who knows if that was true, but that's what they wrote in this book or magazine or whatever is being quoted here. A biography of Tesla was published in 1944. It can be it's really badly faded here and translatable from your local library or store. It is entitled blank. John J. O'Neill, then science editor of New York Herald, blank. Mr. O'Neill has since died. This book gives no information about Tesla's connection with space people, a fact which was not revealed until 1950. I feel like this is just like getting edited or something. Like that was scribbled out or whited out or something. It doesn't even look like it was like a failure digitizing. It looks like it was censored somehow. So that was kind of weird. But this next line gets even stranger. The book also gives many wrong impressions of Tesla because Mr. O'Neill's occult knowledge was limited. So the FBI is trying to figure out who knows what about occultism involving Tesla and space people. And they're saying, oh, this O'Neill guy, Mr. O'Neill, his knowledge was limited. So that seems like they had to have had a greater amount of knowledge than him for them to be able to assess and analyze his knowledge and make a determination value of what he knows or does not know. They would have to know more than him to be able to make that determination. I hope that makes sense. But so they probably know a lot about occult stuff. And kind of circle back to the whole Vril technology that I've talked about with the whole Nazis, allegedly that they were really focused on engineering stuff psychically. And then we have them over here talking about engineers using psychic communications, whether a device or just their brain, to do engineers. That's what they're talking about right up here. Or to do engineering. That's what they're talking about on that aspect. So then it continues on. However, it is well worth reading because it gives much technical information about electrical engineering, which Miss Storm will be obliged to omit in her book because she has such an abundance of material to present. So, is this saying that the FBI had asked Miss Storm to omit the technical details because her book was so big and that she was such a nice lady that she was just like, oh yeah, you're probably right. I shouldn't put this technical stuff in here. It's just going to be jargon. Nobody's going to appreciate it. And then after she didn't put it in there, they come back and they say that like, oh, well, this book has no actual details in it. So I thought that was kind of interesting that it seemed like right here that they asked her to not put technical details into it. And then when she didn't, they used that against her to discredit the book and probably took the details themselves. But it has not been intended to mention Miss Storm's work at this time, but the public will be offered a sneak preview and a small mimeographed resume of the book. according to publication arrangements now being made. This development came about unexpectedly because of the extremely critical condition of world affairs engendered by the continuance of nuclear tests and the fact that Miss Storm could not possibly have finished the book ready for publishers before July 30th, even with the aid of a small miracle. This material is now being presented as a paper before certain Californian groups where the announcement of Tesla's news was received with tremendous enthusiasm. Ms. Storm will present the material to certain small groups in New York area within the next few weeks, and probably space groups in other sections will also cooperate by offering it to their members. Our world situation is not hopeless by any means. Although the space people bluntly inform us, as a race, we are too lazy, spiritually, we must become more potent if we are to hold this planet together against the efforts of the dark forces to blow it to bits. So let us look for good news. Look for good news from England, from messages of George King, at last reach the scientists, the press, the Queen. Look for Calvin Gervin in California, one of the best space contacts in the country. And look for good news for Van Tassel Dan Fry lecture on June 20th. We hope to see all of you there. The ballroom seats about 1,200, and we must put forward every effort to get behind these speakers and support them. Then, July 1st, to keep our eyes on the skies, the space people are going to make every effort to give us all a chance to see the ships. However, if the military uses jets in large numbers to chase the spaceships, we may not see them. As citizens, you can urge the government to become more cordial to our visitors. I thought that was pretty interesting. That was talking about jets chasing off UFOs, even in the early 50s, and that the public can influence government policy regarding violence on visitors, or ET. And that was pretty interesting. And it talks about paying off karmic debts in the form of disease, which cannot be abated, which we continue the nuclear experiments, and that a coming age of epidemics was warned by the space people, have placed forth 4 space stations in orbit around the Earth. They will start magnetizing the Earth at midnight on July 21st. Through meditation, we can absorb the healing rays. Martians have clearly indicated that they are just about fed up with our depravity of this planet. Apparently, even space people can become impatient. Sincerely, Margaret and John Storm. So that's pretty interesting. I can't speak to the validity of those sorts of things, but it's very interesting that the FBI has all of this stuff on file, and that they were extremely interested. And this comes from Colonial Hotel, which I'm pretty sure is nearby some of this other stuff we're about to mention. But here it takes a little bit of a turn for the darker side, where we're going to go into some true crime type of stuff. UFO true crime. That's always a scary mixture. But January 9th, 1943, unknown subjects, equipment, experiments, and research of Nikola Tesla deceased. Espionage with the M-class rating. I'm not sure what the M-class rating is on the espionage. But, and it says that this was unclassified in 82, possibly. I don't believe it was released in 82, but it had to have been, maybe it was in the files, but it wasn't digitized in 82, obviously. But, so I'm going to start skipping through some more stuff. The late evening of January 8th, 1943, stated that Nikola Tesla, who was one of the world's outstanding scientists, particularly in the electrical field, and who has passed away on January 7th, 1943, at the Hotel New Yorker, where he maintained his residence during his lifetime, he had conducted many experiments in connection with wireless transmission of electrical power and what is commonly called the death ray. Mr. Spinell further stated that the notes and records of Tesla's experiments and formulae, together with designs of machinery necessary to vitalize them, are among Tesla's personal effects and that no steps have been taken to preserve them or to keep them from falling into the hands of people unfriendly to the war effort of the Allied nations. Spinell continued by saying that a distant relative of Tesla, a person who was intensely disliked by Tesla and who came to the United States from Czechoslovakia within the past year by the name of Sava Kazanovic, is taking steps to get possession of these important documents and plans. Mr. Spinell believes that there is a strong likelihood of Kazanovic making this material available to the enemy in the event he is successful. And, I had mentioned that Yugoslavia and Czechoslovakia keeps on coming up, and this is another one of those documents that it keeps on coming up over and over and over. And it correlates to many other documents that for some reason those specific regions were hotbeds. And I need to look up some more information about those areas. I know that there was a fight for power, like a vacuum, that people were fighting for power there, and that there kept on being collapse and rise and fall of it was very contentious. So we know that, but much more than that we're not sure. And Spinell advises that he is engaged in some kind of governmental work with the war effort, which causes him to spend about 5 days a week in the nation's capital. Because of the connections made in this capacity, he has seen fit to telephonically notify G2 headquarters in Washington, D.C., as well as Mr. Borkin, which is a funny name, of the Department of Justice in Washington. Spaniel stated that Borkin advised him that he, Borkin, would immediately make information available to the director of the FBI, advised Spaniel to lose no time in taking steps to see to it that Tesla's possessions were not disturbed. A few minutes after this conversation, Spinell again telephonically contacted the writer and advised he had been in telephone communication with Dr. D. Lozado, one of the advisors to Vice President Wallace. After talking to Lozado, he called back to Spinell and told him that the government was vitally interested in the effects, and particularly those dealing with wireless communication of electrical energy and the death ray. And again, for Spinell to lose no time and doing all he could to preserve them. So this is 2 agencies now that told this guy, go get all of his stuff. He died. Go get his stuff immediately. A young man named Boyce Fitzgerald, Boyce Fitzgerald, an electrical engineer, had been quite close to Tesla during his lifetime, and in fact was the protege of Tesla. Spinell said that Fitzgerald was in New York and would be in contact with him shortly, at which time Fitzgerald would call the writer. And let me skip through some stuff here. Nikola Tesla, a native of Serbia, came to the United States in the late 19th century, where he became famous for his electrical inventions, and advanced ideas in the engineering field. Tesla was the designer of the generators in the Niagara Falls power plant, and in fact, his name was inscribed on the generators in recognition of the fact. To substantiate this, Fitzgerald displayed a great number of old newspaper clippings and an album of letters written congratulating Tesla on his 75th anniversary. The letters were from world-renowned people, principally those in scientific fields. And Tesla, by reason of wizardry, became a consultant of Marconi, Charles Edison, and many other. Tesla's induction electrical motors was sold to Westinghouse for $2,500,000. Fitzgerald stated that of late years he had become a confidant of Tesla and knew that Tesla was carrying on extensive experiments for transmitting electrical power by wireless and with propelling electrical rays possessing sufficient power to destroy implements of warfare such as airplanes and submarines. Within the past month, Tesla told Fitzgerald that his experiments in this connection had been completed and perfected. So within months, Within the past month, not plural, singular. Within the past month, his experiments had been completed and perfected. So within a month of him completing this wireless invention, which it sounds like there might have been multiple, he died. What a coincidence. Fitzgerald also knows that Tesla has conceived and designed a revolutionary type of torpedo, which is not presently in use by any nation. It is Fitzgerald's belief that this design has not been available to any nation. From statements made to Fitzgerald, he knows that the complete plans, specifications, and explanation of the basic theories of these things are in place of the personal effects. That Fitzgerald stated that there's working models, which cost more than $10,000 to build each in a safety deposit box at the Governor Clinton Hotel. And that it has to do with the so-called death ray or wireless transmission of electrical current. In past conversations, Tesla told Fitzgerald that he has some 80 trunks in different places containing manuscripts and plans having to do with experiments connected by him. And that some of those possessions were in the warehouse in New York City. Of recent years, Tesla became more or less destitute, and for the past 3 or 4 years of the government, Czechoslovakia had been paying him a substance of $500 per month, part of which was used to pay the rental warehouse accommodations. Tesla's residence in New York had been on Pennsylvania Hotel, Governor Clinton Hotel, Waldorf Astoria Hotel, and the New Yorker, where he led a secluded existence. So far, Fitzgerald knows Tesla had no real intimates, nor did he have any attorney in which he confided.